and the whole idea is that if we cooperate with them, then in the bigger picture, it might be a slight inconvenience for you in that very moment because you can't park exactly where you want to, but it means that that we as a community don't look bad, we don't look like bad neighbors, the masjid doesn't get into trouble and so on. And I'd expect us, all of us, to understand that. Okay? It's things that are good, things that are for the greater good aren't always convenient for the individual. Basic principle, basic rule of life. So please, 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 brothers and sisters, it's the month of Ramadan. You're coming to the masjid for salah, for tarawih, to earn reward. On what planet does it make sense to, on the way, harm another Muslim? Right? To hurt another Muslim, to be harsh to another Muslim. So remember why you're coming, right? You're coming for salah. So, have some patience, understand that nobody's asking you can't park there because somehow, he's going to get his cousin to park there, right? He's asking you can't park there because you actually can't park there because there's a problem associated with that. And also, if they don't start over there first and then the next bit and the next bit and fill up gradually, then you end up with chaos and we end up with 5, 10, 15 announcements during Taraweeh. So please, I know I'm elaborating, but just be mindful and be respectful of the brothers who are trying to organize the parking. Okay, so starting again. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Sallallahu ta'ala wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. So today I want to talk about Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya's famous Maratib al-Musalli, right? So Ibn Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi, very famously in his book Al-Wabil al-Sayyib, he categorizes people who perform salah into 5 groups. Okay? And everyone please pay attention to this, it's really important. So the first group is the first category is the category of a person who is remiss in his salah. So these are all people who pray. These are not people who don't pray. These are people who are turning up, who are performing their prayer. But here, category 1 is of a person who is ظالم لنفسه المفرط, right? He wrongs himself in his prayer. He is remiss in his prayer, i.e. he has severe shortcomings in his prayer. And this person is somebody who has some sort of problem in his wudu, like his wudu hasn't been done properly. There's a bit that he hasn't washed or something like that. There's a problem with his wudu, or he's making mistakes in performing the salah at the proper time. Either he's praying it late, or instead of praying it at the mustahab time, he's praying it at the makruh time. So for example, instead of praying asr before a good clear half an hour, 45 minutes before maghrib, he's allowing the time to kind of creep into the makruh time, which is around 20 minutes before maghrib. He's praying isha, although this is not an agreed upon matter, but in the Hanafi madhab at least, going past the halfway point of the night for isha is considered disliked, and so on. So this person is intaqasa min wudu'iha wa mawaqidiha wa hududiha wa arkaniha. Or within salah he's making mistakes. He's making fundamental mistakes, right, in the way he prays. So this is category number 1. This person is severely remiss and has wronged himself having prayed. Alright, so all of these people are praying. Category 2. من حافظ على حدودها وأركانها وجاهد نفسه من يحافظ على مواقيتها وحدودها وأركانها الظاهرة ووضوئها لكن قد ضيع مجاهدة نفسه في الوسوسة فذهب مع الوسواس والأفكار. So category 2 is somebody who manages to perform salah at the right time, at the preferred time, fulfills salah in terms of its key boundaries, its fara'id, its wajibat, and so on, right? All of the arkan of salah, all of the key pillars of salah are being done properly. He's done wudu properly, right? So his wudu is done, right? The obligation is fulfilled. However, he has his shortcoming is in the struggle against himself, the struggle against his own nafs, right? To keep away the waswasas of the shaitan. So there is a struggle against ourselves. Our nafs listens to the wasawis of the shaitan, which takes our minds here and there and everywhere, right? And this person, having done all of the basic, like in other words, his fiqh of salah is good, right? His fiqh of salah is solid, but when it comes to waswasa, when it comes to listening to the whisperings of the shaitan, when it comes to allowing his mind to wander, right? So he goes with the wasawis of the shaitan and with his thoughts. He wanders with the waswasas of the shaitan and he wanders with his thoughts. Wherever his thoughts take him, he goes. He allows himself to go. So this person is considered to be somebody who will be questioned about his salah. On the day of judgment, he will face reckoning. He will face questioning, even though technically his salah is valid. The first person's salah may not even be valid because he might have made a mistake in wudu. This person's salah is valid, but he will be held accountable on the day of judgment. Okay, the third person, and this one's important because it's definitely, describes my salah and probably describes many of us, right? Number 3, the person who manages to abide by the boundary of salah, all of the rules of salah, the fara'id, the wajibat of salah. And then he fights, he's in a constant battle against his nafs to try to push away the waswasas of the shaitan and to try to push away the thoughts that try to take over his mind in his salah. فهو مشغول بمجاهدة عدوه لئلا يسرق صلاته فهو في صلاة وجهاد. So this person, he is busy fighting his enemy, i.e. the shaitan, right? He's busy fighting his enemy so that the enemy cannot steal anything from his salah. Because there's a hadith, this is a reference to a hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ describes the shaitan as stealing from a person's salah. Every time the shaitan puts a waswasa into our ears, right, and our thoughts wander, or we accept that waswasa and our mind goes somewhere else, this is the shaitan stealing from our salah. So this person, he recognizes that the shaitan is trying to steal from him, so he's fighting back. This person's salah is both salah and jihad. He is both in prayer and he is in jihad, because he's praying but at the same time he's in a constant battle, right, against the waswasas of the shaitan and against his own wandering mind, against his own thoughts. This person, right, is mukaffarun an. This person, his salah will be an expiation for his sins. Meaning from this point, it is from stage 3 that a person starts to receive reward for his salah. When he can bring his salah to the level where his salah is both salah as well as jihad. 4 and 5, right? 4 and 5. Okay, let's try and get 4 and 5 through. So, من إذا قام إلى الصلاة أكمل حقوقها وأركانها وحدودها واستغرق قلبه مراعاة حدودها وحقوقها. The person who, when he stands in prayer, he fulfills all of its rights, all of its arkan, its fara'id, its wajibat and so on, right? And then all of its boundaries. By hudud we mean the things that are prohibited, the makruhat and the nawaqid he managed to stay away from, right? And he completely drowns his heart in trying to, his heart is completely consumed with trying to perform salah properly with all of its rights and boundaries so that nothing is left out, nothing is missing from salah. All of his thoughts, all of his concern is completely preoccupied with doing this, with performing salah properly, meaning his mind is constantly on every moment of the prayer. In this moment, I'm meant to do this. In this moment, I'm meant to do my qira'ah, I'm meant to do it properly. In this moment, it's now time for Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. In this moment, it's time for Takbir. In this moment, it's time for Tasmiyah. In this moment, it's time for Tahmeed. Mind is constantly he's constantly present. He's present with every single action of Salah. And you'll understand this when you see number 5. You'll understand what the difference is. All right. So he's trying to fulfill salah as it should be, as expected, right? And وقد استغرق قلبه شأن الصلاة عبودية ربه تبارك وتعالى. And he's aware that as he performs his salah, he is his Lord's slave and he is in submission to his slave. So in summary, the salah is what preoccupies this person's mind. Okay? Now look at number 5. The person who, when he stands in salah, he stands in the same way as the person in 4. Meaning he has his preoccupation with his salah. He performs his salah as the person in category 4 performs his salah, fulfilling everything as though the salah, the salah is perfect, right? However, in addition to that, فقد أخذ قلبه ووضعه بين يدي ربه عز وجل ناظرا بقلبه إليه مراقبا له ممتلئا من محبته وعظمته كأنه يراه ويشاهده. This person, he has taken his heart. He has taken his heart and he's placed it before his Lord Azza wa Jal. Looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his heart. Because of course physically we don't see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it's as though he sees Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his spiritual heart. And he's constantly alert to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muraqiban lahu. He's in a meditative state. His mind is focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See the difference? This person's mind has gone past the salah now. Right? He's way past focusing on his salah. His focus is on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And his heart is full of the love of Allah, of the reverence, of the azama of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as though he sees and witnesses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And وَقَدْ اضْمَحَلَّتْ تِلْكَ الْوَسَاوِسُ وَالْخَطْرَاتُ وَارْتَفَعَتْ حُجُبُهَا بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ رَبِّهِ فهذا بينه وبين غيره في الصلاة أفضل وأعظم مما بين السماء والأرض. He says that all of those waswases of the shaitan, all of those wandering thoughts, they've all been wiped away. They've all washed away, right? All of the veils that these things place between him and his Lord, these veils have been removed. This person, compared to any other person who performs salah, his salah is greater and more virtuous to the measure of the difference between the heaven and the earth. Meaning it's night and day, heaven and earth between this person and any other person's salah. And here, if you think about it, this person is between number 5 and number 4. Between the two of them is heaven and earth. Right? One is focused on salah, the other is focused on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وهذا في صلاته مشغول بربه عز وجل قرير العين. This person is preoccupied with his Lord Azza wa Jal, قرير العين, right? With joy in his eyes. Of course, this is a reference to the Prophet ﷺ when he said, جُعِلَتْ قُرَّةُ عَيْنِي فِي الصَّلَاةِ. The joy of the coolness of my eyes, i.e. joy, my joy has been placed in salah. So something of a matrix, right? These maratib are to measure our salah against. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take us to the highest levels, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from the levels in which we are accountable. I'll speak a little bit more later on about how to attain these things. It's not easy, it's hard, it takes effort, but we have to commit to the effort, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan. Carry on.